Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates say they will lead a new political and economic alliance of Gulf Arab countries. One country that's not likely to be invited to the new club: Qatar. The region is already facing its worst ever crisis with a Saudi-led blockade of Qatar, and the announcement raises a question mark over the future of the 36-year-old Gulf Cooperation Council. TRT World's Middle East correspondent Iolo Dafydd is in Kuwait and sent this report.
Too late development that's overshadowed this, what was supposed to be an important Gulf Cooperation Council meeting in Kuwait City, is this announcement by the United Arab Emirates that it will have closer cooperation with Saudi Arabia on all matters which are military, political and economic. That definitely, for other GCC members, seems to undermine the reason why the Gulf Cooperation Council is here to discuss all matters regarding economy, social matters and security in the Gulf region. And the second issue, which has become more and more important, and why possibly this summit is finishing a day early, is that only two of the world leaders, of the Gulf leaders, came here, from Qatar and of course from the host Kuwait. The other leaders, the other decision makers did not make it here, and those two elements overshadowed any kind of position being taken here in Kuwait City to break this impasse between Qatar and three of the other member states of this Gulf region. Saudi Arabia, Bahrain and the UAE are still determined to try and get Qatar and Qatari leadership to toe the line. The allegations of supporting terrorism, the allegations of being too close to Iran, allegations, of course, which the Emir and the government in Qatar refute. And because of that, there's an impasse here in Kuwait City, and this conference is finishing early.
So let's take a closer look at Qatar's economic influence within the GCC. Qatar accounted for nearly 12% of the GCC's $1.4 trillion economy in 2015, ranking it third among the 6 member countries. The GCC's total exports in 2015 stood at nearly $555 billion, with Qatar accounting for $77 billion, and it made up 7% of the region's total imports of around $470 billion. Our senior business producer, Mobin Nasir, is in Doha and joins us now live. Mobin, welcome to the show. Tell us, what's been the reaction of the people in Qatar, both Qataris themselves and the hundreds of thousands of foreign workers who live there?
Azhar, no one is surprised. Look, the writing's been on the wall now. We've been following the regional media a little more closely in the past few days in the run-up to the GCC. There've been a buzz with reports of a possible split within the GCC much before the official announcement came. Then, of course, was the attendance at the summit itself. We know that the senior leadership did not arrive. Bahrain sent its deputy prime minister. Saudi Arabia sent its foreign minister, who is not a member of the royal family. So this was not unexpected. Now, moving to your question about isolation, look, there are definitely ramifications in terms of the citizens of Qatar not being able to visit the holy sites in Saudi Arabia. There are those families, of course, that have been torn apart because of these travel restrictions. But Qatar has moved very quickly to improve its ties, to deepen its ties with others. One country, of course, being Turkey. We had a chance to talk to the Turkish ambassador here in Doha earlier today. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
Katar Ekonomi ve Ticaret Bakanlığı'nın verilerine göre
According to Qatar's Ministry of Economy and Commerce, there are 215 Turkish companies in the country. Some of them are taking part in current projects and work on realizing these projects. Some companies have set up their offices here. They seek to bid in upcoming tenders to keep up their presence in Doha. Some big Turkish companies such as Tekfen, STFA, Doğuş, Yapı Merkezi and Yüksel İnşaat are also taking part in projects related to Vision 2020 and 2030. They also rigorously work on stadiums and infrastructure projects for the 2022 World Cup, so they serve Qatar's economic and social development.
So what's been the impact on Qatar's economy and how has Qatar dealt with it?
Well, back at the end of October, the IMF said it expected limited impact on the economy of Qatar and also of the blockading countries. But what we've seen is a very quick bounce back. Part of that is because the government here expected similar actions and had contingency plans in place. That is what multiple officials have told us here. We've also been to the Hamad port. Volumes there have more than doubled since the blockade began. And then, of course, there are the trade deals and the deepening of trade ties, not just with Turkey, but also with Iran. And also a similar deal expected with France later this week when French President Emmanuel Macron arrives here in Doha.
Mobin, Nasir in Doha, thank you very much indeed.